Vulcan and the Pyre Guard continued in their efforts to hunt down Konrad Curze. The ship's crew had managed to isolate the Night Lord's Primarch in the main hangar bay, sealing the area shut with the emergency bulkheads. The problem was, the hangar airlocks to the bare void were locked tight and could not be opened. Something, or someone, had damaged the mechanism. Vulcan was left no choice. Gathering his bodyguards, they would enter the hangar bay and gun the Night Haunter down. Despite his brutal wave of killings upon the ship, Curze was without his armour and without his weapons. As far as Primarchs go, it should be a relatively easy kill for veteran Astartes clad in tactical Terminator armour. As the bulkhead slowly raised, the Salamanders entered the hangar. It was vast, filled with dozens of Thunderhawks and Stormbirds. The lights were bright, casting vast shadows throughout the room as the light shined over the multitude of dropships. Plenty of places to hide. Vulcan walked ahead first, brandishing his hammer, Dawnbringer. The hammer's energy field was already active, giving the head of the massive weapon an eerie blue glow. The Pyre Guard behind him held their weapons ready, aiming at the vast shadows, expecting the psychotic Night Haunter to spring up at any moment. Vulcan spoke, his deep, booming voice echoing throughout the hangar. He informed Curze that he was trapped here, and once the airlock systems were repaired, he would be ejected into the icy void to die without dignity. But he could surrender himself, join their cause, and have all of his past crimes and atrocities forgiven. Vulcan demanded a response from his brother and waited. The lights suddenly cut out with a loud bang from overloading, glass raining from the ceiling like snow. The room became enshrouded in darkness, and screams and the sound of flesh being torn apart could be heard. When the emergency lighting kicked in, Vulcan turned around to see that all of his men had been butchered. He raised his hammer and took up a combat stance. His blood began to boil with anger, and demanded that if Curze wished to kill him, then do it as a warrior, face to face, mano a mano, with honor like a real warrior should. Vulcan heard the sound of footsteps on metal and quickly spun around, ready to bring his massive warhammer to bear. Instead, he felt the intense burning pain of lightning claws piercing through his armor, into his heart and lungs, the crackling energy surging through Vulcan's massive frame. His glowing red eyes gazed upon the sight of his brother. Konrad Curze was wearing a patchwork of crudely beaten armor, made from the armor of the Salamanders he had slaughtered. Vulcan let his hammer fall from his grip, impacting the deck with a loud clang of metal. Konrad Curze smiled with his sick vampiric grin, and leaned in closer to his brother, whispering, "Father sends his regards." He pushed the lightning claws deeper into Vulcan's flesh, causing the Primarch to vomit up thick blood. Curze then clenched his fist and ripped back, leaving a gaping hole in Vulcan's torso. He then eyed up one of the Thunderhawk gunships and softly laughed to himself. He unleashed a psychic blast at the airlock before boarding the Thunderhawk and opening fire with its weapon systems to force an opening for him to escape through. Vulcan's perpetual body began to slowly knit his wounds back together, but the last thing he would ever experience was a sudden rush of cold, and the sensation of his body, along with every item not bolted down in the hangar, to be sucked out into the darkness of the void.